up, y'all? It's your girl, Sydney Wright, and you are here watching another episode of the Coach's Kid podcast. I'm here with my co host, my biggest critic, my best friend, 3-time NBL Coach of the Year, Longhorns basketball legend, my best friend, my dad, Joey Wright. Today, we have a special guest, our very first guest on the Coach's Kid podcast. For those of you who don't know, Akeem Williams, he is a worldwide coach, skill development guru. He's also my trainer when I'm at home in the States. So put in a lot of work with Akeem. Akeem Williams, thanks for being on the show today.
Appreciate y'all for having me.
You know, you guys both like y'all both of y'all love for basketball is what magically connected y'all. Y'all probably don't even know, but Keem's in the gym showing crazy love for the game. You in the gym showing crazy love, and somehow I'm telling you, it just happens. It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
People love the game, end up being my better friends.
Yeah. And I think too, like when I first started working with Keem, started working with Keem about 4 or 5 years ago. And I was recommended to him by a good friend of mine, Trey Young, another great hooper, another coach's kid. And he was like, you got to get in the gym with this guy. He knows his stuff. He's going to, develop your skills. He's great with developing young players. And it's been me and Keem been rocking with each other ever since then. Me, Keem, I appreciate you. I don't know if I would still be hooping if it wasn't for you. And honestly, right after this guy, you are probably one of the most influential people in my basketball journey. So I appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you for the sentiment, but you definitely still would have been hooping regardless. You would have found a way. And that's, I think, another thing that's drawing us together, like your dad said, is just we're the type of people who find a way to make things happen. So I definitely appreciate the friendship as well. And, just the time we spend in the gym, the amount of work you put in, it makes my job a lot easier.
Yep.
Well, let's jump into it because I'm dying to get some questions. I love bouncing questions off people, and I don't get a chance to talk to a lot of people that know they stuff like this.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited to get started. So can I jump off in the first question?
Go ahead.
Can I jump off?
Go ahead.
Keem, I want to know what it's like when you're working out someone and they like they're the best in the business. They do what they do. Like they've reached a level that's most players don't get to, and you working them out just as a mere mortal. How do you feel? Like, is any difference in working that person out versus working a seventh grader out?
No. So once you've reached that level, I think of because there's always room for elevation and room for growth. So once you've reached that level of kind of 100% of where you're at, let's just say you're 100% of being a pro. Now it's time to be an all-star. After an all-star, now it's time to be one of the greatest. After seventh grade, it's eighth grade. So my biggest thing is, first of all, developing those relationships. I think that's the key in order to help these people evolve, whether it's a girl, a little baby, or a professional who's been doing it for the last 20 years. The relationship is the thing that helps you kind of keep them accountable. Honestly, there's no accountability without relationship. And at that point, when I'm working with those people to help them develop their skill, I find those things that makes them tick, whether it's the mental aspect, whether it's a part of their game that still has a flaw in it, because none of us are perfect, or if it's just pushing them conditioning wise. Once I've gained that relationship and that trust, I healthily, use it to push them and find those little ticks. So all in all, I think, everybody has that room to grow and it doesn't change over the board.
Yeah. Keem, you were the youngest coach to start working in the NBA at 21 years of age with the Phoenix Suns, and then later worked with the Los Angeles Lakers. At 21 years old, most people are trying to figure out who they are, let alone how they fit into somebody else's life. what was it like for you at such a young age stepping into an NBA environment?
I was doing the same thing. I was trying to figure out who I was, trying to figure out what this job now entailed, being that I'm getting out of college playing just like the rest of these rookies, but instead of transitioning into more basketball, I'm transitioning into a coaching position. So, I mean, all in all, it was tough, but there was never any weight on my shoulders being that, I was very confident in myself. And I think that's the one thing that basketball has instilled in me and carries on and off the court, which I think a lot of athletes can do the same, going into day to day jobs or, whatever it is that you're doing outside of that sport. That confidence and that work ethic, if you keep those two, everything that you do, you'll figure it out, whether it is finding yourself or figuring out a new environment.
Yeah, yeah. That's facts. And that's one of your mottos. He's been saying this for as long as I can remember, but teaching life skills through sports, right? So everything that we learn on the court, whether it's, learning how to be a good teammate, learning how to work hard, discipline, learning how to communicate with others, learning how to function in uncomfortable situations, like all of that is so applicable to life once we stop dribbling the ball. Um, and so I think that's important. That's one of the greatest takeaways of being an athlete, I think.
When I find, I'm going to hit you with another question here. Is it anything that you see in athletes that succeed or parents of athletes that succeed versus, the kids that don't or the players that don't?
So, with the word success, you have to mention the latter, the failure. So, I think parents who let their kids fail at things help them succeed in the end. All in all, I mean, I don't think answering all the questions for your child or fixing all of their problems is the right way to go as a parent nor as a coach or anyway. You have to let people learn the way that they learn. And I think a lot of times, like we definitely all want to, go help that kid who's struggling to dribble. Hey, do this drill, but in reality, the kid can master that drill and never master dribbling ever again.
Mm.
So I think all in all, I think failure and letting, those who you're mentoring, those who you're coaching, or, as a parent, I think letting those kids or letting those people fail in a controlled environment with a great support behind them, letting them know that failure is only it's not even a failure. You're failing at
It's
this.
not.
You're
Yeah,
not a
it's
failure.
not a failure.
There's still success on the other side of this. So I think, also keeping those two words close to each other, fail and failure, letting them know that there is a distinct difference between both.
Right, right.
I feel like that. When you talk about the ingredients of success and all the things that go in there, whether it's hard work, perseverance, or whatever, I mean, you always have to throw failure in there. And as soon as you learn, and I'm like you, failure, or what is that? It's all to me is
Yeah.
identification of the direction you need to go in. I don't think it's failure. I actually think it's saying, hey, we need to work on this now. And then you don't do something else. Hey, we need to work on that. So it's just identification. But the hardest part, what do you talk to people about that can't bridge that gap? Like they want what they want now, and willing to forgive what they want later for that purpose.
No, definitely. I mean, I think the instant gratification thing is something that's new. But at the same token, for me as a player, I mean, the only instant gratification was after 99 days of doing the same thing. I mean, there's a level of consistency you have to have, and like you said, that work ethic. But yeah, there's no change tomorrow, and I think a lot of
Right.
people right now are looking for that quick change. I mean, NILs help with changing generational wealth through one year of $1 million here. But I think all that still has to be looked at as all the work that's been done beforehand. And I
Right.
think that's a real big big part of this entire basketball culture to keep it afloat, let people know that consistency and, the hard work definitely is what makes an overnight success.
Yeah, yeah. It does. I was just talking to a kid. It was a young kid that comes to the gym, and I won't say his name, but um, he's been started working out probably for the past year. And when he first started working out, he was a little bit overweight. Just kind of started playing basketball. Wasn't really sure what he wanted to do with it. I haven't seen him in about 6 months. Yesterday was the first day I saw him. He's slimmed up. He's moving great. Has a whole different outlook on the game. Has made some goals for himself. And I was just telling him, I was like, look, like you're going to keep working. You got to stay consistent, but you won't really realize that you're improving or getting better. Every day you put the work in, every day you go to the gym, you don't get to have that feeling of like, oh, well, I'm better than I was yesterday. I see the results. It doesn't work like that. It takes time. I said it might take months, it might take a year, it might take years. And then you can sit and look back and be like, oh, like I couldn't do that a year ago or 2 years ago. I wasn't able to do that. But it does take that time. And our generation, my generation, is so caught up in uh, the instant gratification because of social media and being able to see like, hey, I want this right now. Such and such has it. Like, let me see if I can go get it right now today. But
And I
I mean, that's not the right
Any
mindset.
tips you can give us on how you handle that? Like people who just want everything right now. Any tips?
I mean, for me, it's so the same way you said me and Sydney kind of the vibe was gonna attract us regardless. I kind of attract those people who understand that beforehand
Yeah.
because I'm not for everybody. I mean, I'm definitely where I'm at because of the level of focus and the level of attention to detail that I have. But I do think the overall, how do we kind of nip this in the bud? It's kind of a tough situation, but I think, those weekend participation trophies. I mean, that's instant gratification. Kids go there, they go, you know, show up. So now we get a trophy. Now we're happy. We're excited to be a part of this. I think competition is good for everybody in every field. I mean, we could talk about politics and, at the end of the day, you have to vote, you have to debate. That's a level of competition. How are you presenting yourself? Whether it's school, trying to be valedictorian of your high school, you have to show up every day, do the work. And it all goes the same within sports. So I think sports and life is synonymous pretty much. So I think all in all, the competition just has to be there, and you can only crown a winner. People have to learn to chase and get better and grow. And then ultimately, you figure out that life's not really a real competition, it's really a competition within. And you kind of grow to, relax from the competition and just improve yourself day to day, also while finding healthy outlets to have this level of competition, which keeps you sane, I think, all in all. That's my
Yeah.
remedy.
I would like both of y'all opinion on this. I always find it ironic with y'all age group that, and I know I'm sounding real old here, but
Real
like I,
old.
I never played basketball for something. Like I
Mm.
never hooped to get a scholarship. I never hooped to get in the NBA. I never hooped to get, anything. I wanted to dog you. I want to drag you. I want you to walk away going, man, that dude can ball. Like, and he mean too. Like I want to hit you every way you could. And I never thought about it until literally I was sitting this is going into my senior year in college. I'm sitting at the table and two of my teammates just got drafted in the NBA. And I
Mm.
went, shit, like I might be able to do that. But that was the first time I kind of started to play for something. Before then, I just wanted to hoop.
Yeah.
But seems like y'all, what's your opinion? Seems like y'all generation just you got to be playing to get a contract, or playing to get scholarship, playing to get on the AU team, playing to get. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what about just the fun, like the competitive nature of it?
Yeah. I think fun if you love it. If you really love it, I think that's what keeps you there. I'm trying to go back and think about what made me want to start. And to be honest, sometimes I don't know. And sometimes,
Start playing?
yeah.
I know what made you start playing.
Oh, we remember.
When this girl
my
started
my startup story introduction. Everybody thinks like he convinced me to start hooping. It was not even close. It was quite the contrary. This coach, Alana Young, shout out to Alana Young if you're watching this. She was like, "Oh, you want to come play on our team? We play on the weekends." Da, da, da. I was like, "Like I don't think so, not really." She was like, "Well, we go to the mall, we get our nails done as a team," and I was like, "Oh, y'all go to the mall, get y'all's nails done?"
That was it.
That was it. I was signed up after that.
That was it.
I was signed up.
Now, meanwhile, I've been, quietly trying to advertise the position, and she didn't want no part of it.
You didn't use the right trigger words. But I I guess now we do see the money aspect of it is unfortunately a big driver for a lot of people and a lot of families.
It's relative for us at the time. The money's crazy.
It's crazy now. Yeah.
Like crazy different, but at the time it was still relative. Like, I think I got $40 to sign, and that was a lot of money. I ran out the locker rooms, gave me $40.
Definitely.
What do you see a lot of people playing for the right or wrong reasons, or what are your thoughts on that, King?
For me, I can't really define it for them whether it's the right or wrong reason. I mean, everybody has, I guess, their reason. Personally, I've never been goal driven. I've succeeded at a lot of things in life, same way you have. And it was just by, the grace of God, his journey for me, I ended up in these positions and I knew my purpose was to go help others. So, all in all, when I saw those opportunities arise after just doing the work, and that's typically when all my opportunities come. Like, at times you're like, hey, I want to be here, I want to be here. And then you just start just working, just grinding. And then you don't really think about it day to day and something pops up for you. And that's just kind of how it's worked out for me. But still to this day, I'm not very goal driven. I mean, I move a lot more with intention and understanding of what it is that, my morals and what I will and won't align myself with. But goals to say, hey, I got to do this, I got to do that. I think that's another mental block that all in all, you have to be in a certain place in this competitive space to understand like there's a lot of things that you put on yourself. And if you put these goals and expectations on yourself, you have to live up to them or they're going to eat at you. And I think, that's something that's definitely hindering what's going on now. I think everybody wants an NIL deal. Everybody wants, scholarships to Duke. And you just have to understand what's for you will come and you'll attract it. But you just got to go work. Like that's literally it. All the opportunities, all the things that align for you will come if you do the work.
Yeah. Team, was there a specific time in your life that made you realize what your purpose was? You just said you felt like your purpose was to help others. Was there something that sparked that, or was that something that just felt like a calling to you?
I think early journaling, honestly, writing down 5 things I was grateful for every day. I've done that probably the last 15 years of my life. And just, reflecting in those moments about the things that, because as you know, I'm very laid back, very chill, never overstimulated, excited, never low and sad.
Like this.
So
Keem is like this. I'd be like, Keem,
trying to get you pumped up, but she be
Keem be like, all right, Sid, great job. You just made 30 shots in a row.
But
that's it.
I think, that level of neutrality is like where I can kind of find what I observe. So looking at other people, seeing the things that pump them up, see the things that make them better, see the things that, ultimately kind of derailed them. And I found a good joy on the inside, at least. I don't know if it shows on my face, but when I can help people find that inner joy, that inner optimism, and just, feel good about themselves, honestly. And at that point, I kind of knew that was my purpose, along with reading the St. John chapters of the Bible, being that that is my middle name. I kind of resonated with who he was and the way that he led, and I just felt like I guess it all made sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I think I know I had to. I think one time I had to call Keem to call you and say,
Oh my God.
Keem, check in with your girl.
I was down bad.
Yeah, he was doing bad. So I mean, you being there and being a confident, I've seen and witnessed that with Sydney, and have reached her in ways that I definitely couldn't have reached her. I guess just being a dad or whatever. I'm not sure, but how has your family background played into your ball? I know L Dub loves some basketball, so.
Yes. For those who don't know, Keem is also a coach's kid. All right. So he was coached by his dad, Larry Williams, um,
Who
who
also coached Vern Roboto when Vern was a little kid running around in the gym in Alaska.
yeah,
Crazy small world.
crazy
Crazy
small
small
world.
world. But I'm all the way over here. One of
Definitely.
my best friends is Vern Roboto. He started L Dub's like, I know Vern. Like, wow, guy,
What?
that's crazy. Crazy.
So, I mean, the thing about me, I've always been that even kill guy, right? But behind the scenes, me and him, there's there's times where I'm not even killed, and this ain't the joy. This ain't the joyous side either. So, I mean, I think all in all, I learned a lot from him though. I mean, like I said, I've always been very observant. So while he was an NBA agent, I got to be around when he had players with the Hawks and Spurs, and just seeing how those organizations operated, seeing how he operated, how the players operated, and then going into his coaching career when he was coaching overseas as well. Got to see that in Puerto Rico firsthand, and just seeing everything, like seeing how he interacted with the players, how the players felt. Because I'm walking around the gym, I could hear guys, saying their little things here and there, good or bad. So I mean, I'm just pretty much scoping it all out and learning from experience and just seeing it all in all. Because I'd hop in those practices too. Like it was no days off for me, but. I think our coaching player career together wasn't the best. I mean, we're both very stubborn. At least me as a player, I was very stubborn with him, all because parents know everything, and and
We
I'm
do.
I'm my mother's son for sure. Where she's very educated. She's worked the medical field and whatnot, so she's well read and very understanding of herself. So that was me. Like I know my like with me and him, one thing was like goals. What's your goals? What you want to do? Like, bro, I'm here right now. This is it. I'm giving him my all. I don't know. Like, and I would say that was the one thing where we disconnected, but where we were connected, I think it was more so just on kind of like I said, who we were. We are both stubborn, hardworking people, and it's a lot of things that he does or did that I'm learning now, which is communicating with other people on a daily basis. That's not my thing. I stay out the way. I watch a lot of
And he's good at
basketball,
He's good at it.
and so just really learning, a couple other skills that I kind of saw him have and found ways to succeed with. So I mean, that's pretty much our relationship. We butt heads, but now that he's retired and I'm doing my thing and he's saw that I found success in how I do things, he's laid off of that a lot. So it's a lot better now.
And hopefully, the older you get, the smarter you realize he is. Because a lot of times,
I don't know
when
why
y'all are
you looking
young,
over here for.
when y'all young, y'all just don't know what we doing. We working in the background, so we trying to get y'all to a certain place. So And it don't always feel good. So same as with a coach pushing, as parents, we push as well. So, it don't
Definitely.
always feel good. And I know sometimes it's a backlash.
It did. I will be honest. It did take me. Obviously, I knew you knew your stuff. It really wasn't until I left to go to college and got from underneath you. And, in college, you're learning how to be independent. Obviously, I was going to school with a different coach and, different country at that time. And so it wasn't really until then that I was like, oh, my dad really knows what he was talking about.
Yeah.
And I think up until then as well, I was always trying to find a way to do what I wanted to do without your input.
Yeah.
So if there was a way that I could accomplish it that was not the way that he instructed to do it, I was trying to do it that way. I was not trying to do what you were talking about. It wasn't until I was probably 19 or 20 where I was like, you know what? Let me just completely trust him. And you still gave me the ability to think, though, for myself and to
receive from others.
receive from others.
I'm
Yeah.
a huge believer, and I don't know what your take on this, King, but I don't believe in kids just training with me or players just training with me.
Yeah.
I want them to get a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
One, if we close enough, I'm gonna come back and they're gonna show me some stuff. I had Sid doing all your workout yesterday.
Yeah. He was like, show me Akeem workout. I was like, oh Lord.
Hey, I'm trying to learn, so I don't have no shame in my game. So, but I think like we can only teach basketball from our personal perspective, and the things that I teach because of who I was physically and who I was mentally.
Mm.
So, I got a crazy floater game because I have no athleticism.
Right.
So, I could teach somebody a floater, and teaching somebody to raise over somebody and dunk it ain't my thing.
Right.
All right. I can shoot the ball very well. So I can teach and talk to people about shooting the ball. We teach, but I would love for a player to be well-rounded and get as much as they can from everybody else. And then they come back and decide who they're going to be as a baller.
Yeah.
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 Definitely. And I think the same. I think it takes a community to raise a kid. It takes a community to raise a basketball player as well. But with that, also, I think the main goal is to teach discernment and, make sure that they're understanding what they're taking, who they are as a player, and also kind of what they will and won't align themselves with. Because all in all, the way one person teaches how to shoot the ball, another person doesn't. So in those workouts as a kid, it's like, hey, go do your thing, go work with who you work with, but understand that changing your shot every rep ain't gonna help you in the long run. So figure out the way that you shoot and have those communications, those talks with, those trainers. But I think the big things a lot of kids or at that level, I would say more professionals because, it's not that detrimental to kids. But I think the college professional level, they have to find ways to grow up and have those conversations like, hey, this is what works for me and still be open to understand that, there are other ways to do things. So it's a balance, which being great doesn't really have. Like there's no balance in greatness. So you have to just figure it out what works and how to interpret everything that is put into you, honestly.
Yeah.
I do think like greatness is an average. Like you say, is no balance to it. I think greatness is an average. I think the problem a lot of times we try to train to the optimal right, just to the right amount of rest, right amount of everything. I think you can do that, and that may be a goal, but I'd say let's just go for it and let's just take the average. And that average works out. Like if we go over, then we train in the brain.
Right.
If we go under, we might be saving the body, but the brain is what's going to drive this whole thing. So pushing you over a little bit, bringing you back, pushing you over, bringing you back, push you over, bring you back. I think that's what stimulates greatness. But everyone wants to, get it just right. Let's push. Let's push. When you're like looking at somebody and you say that's a great player, she's a great player, he's a great player. What are the things you're looking at?
Oh, it's a lot. I mean, first of all, it's for me the energy, like the feel of like just how are you taking this? What's the level of professionalism? Whether your mom dropped you off or you drove here or whatever, what time did you arrive here? How are you preparing
Mm.
for this workout? What is the conversation being had beforehand? And not that there's a right or wrong answer to any of that. I mean, you could have showed up 15 minutes late and still had the greatest workout that I've ever seen in my life, which has happened before. But, those are things that I take into consideration beforehand. During the workout, it's really kind of finding that balance of who you are as a player. I mean, ball handling's one skill level. Where's that at? Where's your shooting at? Where's your will to just work past fatigue? What's your conditioning like? What's your athleticism like? And it's just a bunch of things that I break down within a couple drills. That's all it really takes for me to kind of see it, because all in all, how much you want it is really the biggest factor. I don't really care if you ask 100 questions, you ask no questions. I don't care if you go 100 miles per hour, 2 miles per hour. It's really the intent that you do everything with that I can see, which I think is a very much so trained skill set. That level of focus, that level of, hey, I want this to be right, but I also want to get better. So just trying to find all those little details and kind of add up the score from that, and just see, like I said, at the end of the day, how it feels. What's the real reading of the room?
Yeah.
Do you have any tips on taking that and then translating it to the game and how you apply those skills that you've developed um, out on the
Um,
court?
I mean, all in all, my biggest thing with training players is understanding that their role. So let's say I got a PG who's super athletic, ball handling, shaky, good leader, and can run all day. Hey, you super athletic, go get every rebound. I want you to push the
Yep.
ball ahead with the pass, and I want you to pick up 94 feet. In the half
Mm.
court, you don't run the offense with the ball in your hands. You run the offense as you're passing it ahead, getting people into place. Because I mean, it's all about finding your strength in the way that you can be most capable on the court. So it's really just more so what translates. And then in that off season or during that season when we're working out, we're gonna improve that ball handling, because you got all the other skill sets, but let's keep improving this ball handling while still sharpening all the other things that you're already good at. So
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean
Right.
that's the best way for me to help them translate it, I think. Understanding their
That's-
game, their role, and then making it all work.
Last, certainly not least, you touched on it before. How you feel like helping others is a part of your calling. I want you to explain to those who don't already know the meaning behind your brand, Power Vision. And you also have a nonprofit, the Player's Journey. Talk to us about that.
So Power Vision, PWR stands for Pray Work Repeat. Visualize Success Now, which is something I kind of came up with in high school and really kind of stood on it in college, making it a brand, and really just wanted to wear the apparel to make it a little bit more real to me, because I think the power within everything that we do is within the prayer, the work that we do, and the repetition or the consistency that we do it at. And in order to be successful, you have to be able to visualize that success right now, and and all the things that you want, whether you set goals or not. What the feeling of success is. So visualizing that, whether it's drawing it out, closing your eyes, meditating, praying for it, all those things are definitely encompass each other. And I think as far as the player's journey, me, Shannon Shorter, who's another mutual that we all have,
Yeah.
George Williams and Tyrese Rice, we're trying to definitely bridge the gap between sports and the business world, and just help guys create a platform for themselves, as well as just create opportunities for themselves as they transition out of basketball or while they're still playing basketball, as well as other athletes and other sports as well. I think, those are definitely big things that we talked about at the beginning of the show, that, finding the things that are synonymous between career fields and sports, and really just taking
Right.
those strengths, like I said before, taking those strengths, adding it to that field, and then fine tuning the things that you're just not good at yet. And I
Mm-hmm.
think, a lot of people shy away from those opportunities because they feel they're not prepared or not ready for that, but they have to understand that they actually have an advantage, being that they work in a team setting and with other people already, being that most sports are team oriented and based. So now you could take that into a leadership role into your next career. And then the
Exactly.
other nonprofit that I have is for the kids, Community Express, where we really just work a lot more social and emotional skill sets, as well as career training for the kids. And this summer, we're actually going to have them in the gym, to where we have a full day of our kids who actually play. So we have the kids that we train and play, and have the kids from the nonprofit have like a mini ESPN day. So they'll do the
Oh wow.
broadcasting, they'll do the, news reporting, they'll do all the other little operational things that make, a day at ESPN like super cool, honestly.
That's excellent.
Yeah, that is
That's
cool. I
excellent.
love that. I love that. We'll make sure that all your socials are available,
Available.
and that people can come in and donate and help out with such a great cause. Before we go, I got to say shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to Shannon.
Shout out to
The
Shannon
ultimate
Shorter.
For
professional, the
sure.
ultimate professional. Shout out to Shannon. And thank you for being on the Coach's Kid podcast, where we don't just talk about it.
We be about it. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. As always, we appreciate y'all for tuning in, and we will see you next week on the Coach's Kid podcast.